Hello and welcome back to another video. This time we're going to talk about what is a medical grade and when do I actually need one. My name is Pianegonda and I have helped over 30 medtech companies to choose the right plastic for their application. And let's just dive right into the topic. So, what is a medical grade? That is a question that bothers the industry of plastics and medical technology for a while now. Because officially, there is no legal definition of a medical grade. So, whenever you have a plastic manufacturer that claims we have a medical grade, they can do that on a basis of whatever. So if they have a company or a customer buying their grade and using it for some kind of medical application, they can just claim it's a medical grade. Or if they have done a ISO 10993 biocompatibility test, or if they have a USP class 6 biocompatibility test, they can just say it's a medical grade. And that is kind of problematic, I would say. And therefore, the VDI, Verein Deutscher Ingenieure, which is a association of German engineers, came together in 2017 and said we should define in a guideline what a medical grade is. And this is the VDI guideline, medical grade plastics from 2017. And the basics are the following. So a medical grade should have a change management. So in plain terms, we will tell you if we change something on our grade. So if we change the location where it is manufactured, we will tell you. If there is a change in formulation, we will tell you. If there was an earthquake and the plant I am manufacturing your medical grade in was destroyed, we will tell you, because we will need another plant, obviously. And then we will have a notification period. So not only will we tell you if we change something, but we will give you time before we make a change. Meaning that an industry standard, I would say, is like 2 years for a change. So we will change some additives or we will change a catalyst for the polymerization of our plastic grade. And we will give you 2 years in order to prepare for the change. And then after 2 years, we will come to you and say, hey, please tell us how much material you will need. That is a so-called last order call. Meaning we will tell you, okay, you will have 2 years. After 2 years, we'll come and say, hey, we need your last order. Then we can produce that and you can have that in your stock. And with the lifetime or the shelf life of our material, that will give you even more. So if you have a shelf life of 3 years and you have a notification period of 2 years, that will give you in total 5 years for a change, which is realistic for a medical device. And so you have a change management and you have a notification period. Then on top of that, we will have supply security measures. So we will take measures to ensure that your supply is going to be safe. And this is a huge advantage. And I'm just going to tell you later an anecdote where it really came in handy for those who had medical grades at a certain period of time. Then, last but not least, we will support you with your approvals. So they will have a certain special regulatory support. That can mean anything from sterilization testing on the material to extractable leachable tests to biocompatibility tests. And even that can also mean that we will disclose our formulation to a biocompatibility lab. So how that will work is you make your biocompatibility tests and you do not know what's in the grade, and no plastic supplier will ever give you their formulation because that is their secret sauce, basically. And if you're trying to evaluate the biocompatibility, it is very, very crucial that you know what's in there, or it helps you a lot. So if I know there's this stabilizer and there's this additive in there, I can specifically test for the leaching or extracting of these two substances. And so what they would do is you go to a biocompatibility lab and they make an NDA with the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will give the formulation to the biocompatibility lab. They're not able to tell you what the exact formulation is, but they know how to target and how to target and measure the extractable leachables. So that is what is meant by regulatory support, and this comes in very handy with your approvals. So what other advantages do I have? So you have this service package from the first 25 kilos. If I buy a medical grade, it is a promise from the supplier that this grade will come with the service package. And that is a huge advantage if you have small quantities. Then the supply security. In 2021, I told you before, there was a certain period of time where it was extremely difficult to get material, grades of any sorts were lacking, and the prices were going through the roof. There are all sorts of reasons for that, but medical grades were spared of this because nobody wanted to allocate or to cut medical companies short of their supply, because that would be a very number one, it would go against the service package that they promised you, and secondly, it would be very bad marketing if the medical devices would not be in supply because of the material. And the third reason was also that medical grades do have the better margin, meaning that they make more money selling a medical grade than a food grade. So in 2021, during the supply chain disruptions, medical grade users were spared, and they had material when nobody else was able to produce, or just had allocated like half of the material that they ordered initially they would get, but with medical grade you would get 100%. Then there's the likeliness of changes decreases with the medical grade, because they have like a commitment that we do not change if we do not really need it. So in the case when you have an earthquake and the plant is completely destroyed, there's obviously something you need to do, but they will not change just because of economic reasons. So sometimes they change additives in food grades just for economics or performance reasons, but in medical grades they wouldn't do that, so it decreases the likeliness of a change. It helps your regulatory approvals. As I described, the biocompatibility test can go smoother. You can say, like, if the notified body comes to you and says, yeah, but what do you do about supplier management? And we can say, yeah, they have this service package and they do inform us about changes. We have the notification period, the supply security. We have biocompatibility tests that are done on the material. So that eases your approvals, basically. And it also eases your supplier management and quality agreements. So you do not have to do a lot in terms of quality agreements if you're getting the service package. I would still recommend you do a quality agreement. However, it is more important for non-medical grades than for medical grades. Then I like to say medical grades are like insurance. So they're only worth it when you have the risk. So if you have high risk medical devices, there's obviously the need for the change control, the need for the supply security. But if you do not need a medical grade, you're just paying too much for peace of mind. That's basically it. So if you're using a medical grade for a part where it's not actually really needed, you pay a little too much. And that is also the reason why people don't like to use them. They are more expensive than if you do not have a medical grade. Yeah, good. So when do I need one? It's very short. High-risk medical devices. So just ask yourself the question, how critical is it if the formulation of this grade would change? So if they would switch a additive with some contamination of some sort, not intentionally added substance, how risky would that be? And you can do that like in a risk management setting and take that as a risk. And if your risk management says, yeah, it's probably not that bad, we will pick that up by XYZ, and it wouldn't hurt the patient either because XYZ, usually because there's no patient contact, or only very, very short patient contact, you're good. So when do I not need one? With very low risk medical devices, such as, for example, housings. So if I have a housing of a electronic medical device, there's just no need to do it medical grade. The only reason why I would do it in medical grade is because I'm worried about the supply security. Because if I'm not able to produce, that hurts my business results more than if I pay a little more for my grade. So how can I work around if I do not have a medical grade? So currently I do not have a medical grade used. So I should be using a medical grade, but I do not have one because of historical reasons, usually because of cost. Or I am evaluating a sustainable alternative, but that doesn't come with medical grade. So what can I do? Well, I can set up a quality agreement that basically mimics what a medical grade service package does. So I say to them, look, you need to inform me with every change. I need supply security. I need a notification period if you need to do something. And I need some kind of regulatory support. And then usually the first question they ask is, yeah, but are you willing to pay something for that? And that really, really depends on your negotiating strength on the table. Because what happens if I do not have the negotiating power to get something like a quality agreement in that sort through? And here it really depends on what you should do. Sometimes it's best to look for another alternative and say, like, if you're in the development and you still have some leeway in terms of material selection, you should go for alternatives. Because if my risk management says, you should have a medical grade here, and you're not able to negotiate the quality agreement, then the option is just not viable. You need to rate the option accordingly. And if I have the negotiating power to get a quality agreement through, that's very nice. So if you're using 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 tons a year from a material, you have certainly some negotiating power to get yourself a quality agreement. But I always say the best case for medical grade is low volume users. So if you use like 200 to 300 kilos a year of a grade, there is no plastic supplier in the world who will say, yeah, let's just negotiate for a few months on a quality agreement to just get it perfect for me to make a business of 300 kilos a year. If that's not implantable material, which is 5 figures per kilo, nobody really does that. Because they will tell you, yeah, buy 2 full trucks a year and then we'll talk. And else you just do not have a leeway. So low volume is a very good use case for medical grade if you cannot do that with a quality agreement. Or you just go and switch to a medical grade where you have all those nice services attached to it. So I hope this was helpful. And if you are a medtech company and you're wondering about all these questions, when do I need a medical grade and how do I choose the right plastic, especially in a sustainability context, because that in the future will become compliance, there's a link in the description for you. You can click that. I actually do not care if you click it. I make these videos because they're hopefully valuable for you. And thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please comment, like, and subscribe, because YouTube will show you more videos like these. And I want you to have the best YouTube experience possible. If you want to request a video or ask a question about the medical grade topic we just talked about, just write a comment. I read all the comments and I reply to them. So yeah, that was it for the video. I hope you liked it. And thank you very much. And until the next time.